Hello friends, welcome back to UGC Net English classes. In the previous class we discussed the ideas of the origin of human beings, human civilization, the study of humanities, and also the main divisions of human knowledge. That means the difference between humanities and science. Today we will discuss some topics like the idea of a text, the world of language, and also the world of literature in general. First of all, we will discuss the idea of text. So text is a word that comes from a Latin word. Again, not the idea. Text comes from a Latin word. That is texere or textum, which means to weave. So from the word texere or textum comes the word text, which means to weave. The word text has its origin in a Quintilian's work, Institutio Oratoria. So the word text comes from the work of Quintilian. Quintilian was a Roman educator, a Roman scholar. He was 1st century Roman scholar was Quintilian. So he had written a work titled Institutio Oratoria. So Institutio Oratoria first mentions the term text. So the work was written by the Roman writer Quintilian. Now, how can we discuss or describe or define text? A text can be called a linguistic structure woven out of words or signs. Text can be called a linguistic structure woven out of words or signs. Now we use the term to refer to any written or spoken discourse. So now the term text is used in a general way. That is, any work, written or spoken discourse can be called a text. So remember the thing, text is a word that comes from a Latin word. So just like the words like Homo sapiens, civilization, or humanities, the word text also comes from a Latin expression. Now we will come to the points about languages. So the world of language. The world of languages. When we discuss the world of language, we know we have to come to the English language. So when we give importance to the English language, we can divide the languages of the world into 3 branches. These 3 branches are, first one, Semitic, second one, Indo-European, and the third one, Turanian. We don't discuss Semitic and Turanian, we only discuss the branches of Indo-European. So Indo-European, we can mainly divide into 10 sub-branches. The first one, Anatolian, second one. Hellenic, third one. Italic, fourth one. Indo-Iranian, fifth one. Albanian, sixth one. Germanic, seventh one. Armenian, eighth one. Tocharian, ninth one. Celtic or Celtic, the last one. Balto-Slavic. So once more, basically we can divide the languages of the world into three branches: Semitic, Indo-European, and Turanian. So when we take the case of Indo-European, we can see 10 major branches under this category. So these 10 branches are Anatolian, Hellenic, Italic, Indo-Iranian, Albanian, Germanic, Armenian, Tocharian, Celtic, and Balto-Slavic. Then we will branch the Germanic group into three groups: North Germanic, West Germanic, and East Germanic. We don't need North Germanic and East Germanic, so we will go to the West Germanic branch. The West Germanic branch we can again subdivide into Anglo-Frisian and Old Saxon. So Anglo-Frisian, again we can divide into Old English. Then from Old English began Middle English, and from Middle English taken the origin of Modern English. So this is the basic tree diagram of the origin of English language. So from Indo-European branch, we can branch out 10 branches. So from those 10 branches, we have concentrated on Germanic language. And Germanic we divide into three groups: North Germanic, West Germanic, and East Germanic. And from West Germanic we branched out two groups: Anglo-Frisian and Old Saxon. And from Anglo-Frisian originated the culture of Old English language, and from Old English developed Middle English, and subsequently from Middle English developed the language that we use today, that is Modern English. Now we have to understand the basic definition of language given by the famous linguist Edward Sapir. So the famous American linguist Edward Sapir had given a definition of his own about what does it mean by a language. So according to Edward Sapir, a language is a purely human and a non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols. So as per the definition given by the famous American linguist, so Edward Sapir is an American anthropologist and a linguist. So he had given the definition of language. So as per that definition, language is a purely human and a non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols. Now, in the present context, we can say there are about 6,500 to about 7,000 spoken languages in the world today. So, we speak about the spoken languages. So, there are about 6,500, or we can say around 7,000 spoken languages in the world today. Among these 7,000 languages, the most popular languages are Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, English, and Hindustani, etc. So, among these 7,000 spoken languages, the most popular languages are Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, English, Hindi, or we can say in general Hindustani. English is a West Germanic language. We have already discussed that idea. English is a language that belongs to the West Germanic group of Indo-European family. So the West Germanic language was first spoken in 3700 BC. So not the date 3700 BC, not AD. It is 3700 BC. The West Germanic group belongs to the branch of the Indo-European family of languages. Indo-European is the largest family of languages in the world. So we have discussed that idea. When we divide the languages of the world, we can divide the branches into Semitic, Indo-European, Turanian, etc. We have also, Dravidian languages, to which our Indian languages mostly belong. But we discuss only Indo-European family, since we are concentrating on English language. So Indo-European is the largest family of languages in the world, though there are other branches like Semitic, Turanian, etc. So our Indo-European family is spoken by 45% of the world population. So now 45% of the population speak Indo-European languages. So Indo-European languages, when we talk about Indo-European, it doesn't mean that they speak English language. They speak other languages as well, which those languages come under Indo-European, like Anatolian, Hellenic, or Indo-Iranian, or such languages. So overall, 45% of the world population speak Indo-European languages. So the Indo-European is a family that first spread in Europe and in many parts of Asia. So first that the branch Indo-European first spread in Europe, European continent, and subsequently it showed its origin in other parts of the countries, other parts of the continents as well, other parts of the world as well, including the Asian continent. So when we say Indo-European languages, it refers to the easternmost languages of India to the westernmost languages in Europe. So we have said 45% of the world population speak Indo-European languages. So these world population, or we can say these countries, include people from India, and also people from European countries. Next, we will discuss the world of literature. So, the word literature comes from a Latin word that means litera. So, litera is a Latin word. From there comes the word literature, which means letter or handwriting. So, the Latin word litera means letter or handwriting. Then that word litera turned into literature. Literature means writing. So literature means writing. Then it finally turned into literature. Literature means writing made with the use of letters. So the basic root word of literature comes from Latin. So from Latin word litera, which means letter or handwriting, then it turned into literature, which means writing, then literature, which means writing made with the use of letters. Now let's try to understand the idea of literature. How can you define literature? Is it possible to define literature? When you try to, define literature in one sentence as literature is about life, people usually will say, no, literature is not always, or all the pieces of works that are available don't really discuss about life. So then how can you say literature is about life? Is, literature always talking about life? So let's discuss. So why people usually say literature is not about life? So in order to understand this definition, that is, the definition is literature is the expression of life through the medium of language. So what is wrong with this definition? There is nothing wrong with this definition. The mistake is, or the problem is with your understanding of the words, expression of life. So when we say expression of life, you shouldn't always, feel that literature is always about a person's birth to death description of, life. It is not. Life doesn't always mean that way. Then how to, understand that word life? So not the word life, which not only means the presence of life that is present in animals and plants and not in inorganic matter. So when we talk about life, it is not about the life, the breath, till we die. That is inside a person or a, what we can say, tree or an organic matter. So it also means the existence of a thing, what we commonly call the lifetime or lifespan of a thing, an idea, a subject, etc. So that also come, under the discussion, under the idea of life. For example, the lifetime of a mountain. A mountain, it has a life of its own till somebody, comes and what we can say, destroy that mountain in order to build a program, a road or something. That idea of mountain is there. It's life. It's a lifetime. So the life of a rock, a piece of rock, it has a life of its own. Till you form that rock into an idol, you make an idol out of that rock. So that rock had a life of its own till you turned into an idol. Then after that, once you turned it into an idol, it starts to live the life of an idol. You know, so it starts to live the life of an idol, and someone really breaks or pieces the idol into powders. Then what happens? That idol, life of the idol is no more there. It starts to live the lives of thousands of dust. So like from a mountain you got a piece of rock. From that rock you made an idol, and if that idol is broken, and it starts to live the life of something else. So everything has a life and a lifetime of its own. Even if it is an idea, a piece of belief, it has a lifetime of its own. It has a life of its own. So when we say literature is the expression of life, so it's the expression, the different type of expression about the existence of the life, about the existence of a lifespan. So that definition is clear. Literature is the expression of life. So using the medium of language, the expression of life gets shared through literature. So that's why we say literature is the expression of life through the medium of language. So used in this sense, we can say that everything has its own life and a lifetime. At least as far as a lover of literature is concerned, they do have. So in that sense, we can say literature can be about anything, about the life of an idea, about the existence of a belief system or customs, or about a human being, about the life or lifetime of a mountain, about a rock, about a flower, anything. And now we can see the divisions under literature. So literature, we can say, comes in different forms, and it comes in the form of a verse or prose. We know that literature can be written in the form of verse. Verse means in the form of rhyming or unrhymed poetry like writing. That can be called a literature, or it can also be in the form of prose. Prosy works. We do have stories, dramas, novels, but dramas and all those can be verse too. Verse drama, we say, right? So literature, we can say, comes in a different forms like verse, prose, etc. So under this we can include poetry, prose, poem, drama, fiction, non-fiction, novel, novella, essays, etc. Now let's discuss literature from around the world. So when we ask the question, who was the first writer? Of course, everyone, when one is really biased towards his country, he would say, yes, the countryman from my country was the first to write a work. But by general consent, we can say the world's first non-author was a woman. The world's first non-author is a woman named Enheduanna. Enheduanna, who lived in ancient Mesopotamia, that we said is the present-day Iraq. So she lived around 2285 or 2250 BCE. So the writer Enheduanna, she was a princess a priestess and a writer. So that princess Enheduanna is considered world's first writer. She is from Mesopotamia, Iraq. So we know that when we say the world's first author was a woman, we know the works of Sumerian literature or the works of Mesopotamian literature came to the world literature so early. So we can say the oldest literary works are from Sumeria and ancient Egypt. So when we say Sumeria, Sumeria was a place in Mesopotamia. It was the southern part of Mesopotamia. Sumeria is called southern Mesopotamia. We can say southern Iraq, southern part of the country Iraq. That was Sumeria. So the earliest literary works come from Sumeria and also from Egypt. We know Egyptian literature is very famous from the beginning. So the Sumerian work, the earliest version of the great tale of the flood, the great flood tale known as Eridu Genesis. That was the Sumerian version of the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is very, very important work as far as the students of UGC Net English are concerned. So the Epic of Gilgamesh's earliest version or a part of that work was the Great Flood Tale that came in Sumerian literature around 2300 to 2000 BCE. So the best known Egyptian works are the story of Zeno, Egyptian Book of the Dead, that came out in 1250 BC. So the most famous works from Egypt include the story of Zeno and the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Then we come to the greatest Greek epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. So the Iliad and the Odyssey came around 800 BC. Homer, the great Greek writer, Homer has written the work, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Then the Latin epic work, the Latin epic is the Aeneid. Virgil's work, the Aeneid, that came around 29 or 19 BC. Virgil's Latin epic, the Aeneid. Then the greatest Indian epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So when the Mahabharata came out in around 800 to 400 BC. The greatest Indian epic, one of the greatest Indian epics, the Mahabharata, came out around in 800 or 400 BC, written by Vedavyas. Then the other work, the other greatest epic from the Indian subcontinent to the world of literature, that is the Ramayana. The Ramayana written by Valmiki. So the Ramayana came around 200 BC. Around 200 BC, Valmiki wrote the Ramayana. Then when we talk about the contributions of Indians to the world of literature, we can also say the contributions of the writers of Vedas. So the Vedas came around between 6000 to 2000 BC. We don't really, provide an exact date, but we can say 6000 to 2000 BC, the Vedas appeared. When we discuss, works from different religion, as far as we are concerned, the students of literature are concerned, there is no work that can be considered as a religious work. Everything, fall under literature, whether it is a Bible or the Quran or the Ramayana. Everything we say is a beautiful piece of literature. So the next work is the Jewish Bible, or we say the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament. The Old Testament, that is the old form of the Bible. So that work came around 300 BC. So the oldest form of Bible, that is called the Jewish Bible or the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament, that came around 300 BC. Then the next work is the Christian Bible. The Christian Bible or the New Testament, that came out in the 1st century AD. So the Bible was first written in Greek, then translated into Latin, then to English. So Bible first written in Hebrew. The Jewish Bible is Hebrew Bible. Then we can say that it translated into Greek, then to Latin, then to English. Hebrew, Greek, Latin, English. So the Christian Bible or the New Testament appeared around 1st century AD. Now coming to the discussion of the English Bible. The English Bible first appeared in 1382. In 1382, an attempt made by John Wycliffe to translate the Bible into English. So that happened in 1382. John Wycliffe's translation of the Bible. Then after him, William Tyndale tried to translate it in 1526. William Tyndale's attempt on the English Bible in 1526. After him, Alfred the Great translated the Bible, the English Bible, in 1611. Alfred the Great translated the Bible in 1611. So these are very, very important dates you have to remember. The attempt of John Wycliffe to translate the Bible in 1382, then William Tyndale 1526, then Alfred the Great 1611. Then we also talk about the Quran. The Quran came out in around 600 AD. So the Quran came to the world of religion, or we can say the world of literature, very late. So the Quran came out around 600 AD. So that's all for today. So today we discussed the idea of text, the world of languages, and also the world of literature in general. So in the next class we will discuss Greco-Roman literature.